This is going to be put onto both the blog and the private website. And I highly, highly suggest that you go back and review it. I highly, highly suggest that you take some notes today. We got some great stuff going on. And I think really, what's today's date? It's the 31st. We have 18 days until the world changes. Does everyone know what I mean by that? Nod wildly if you do. Okay. You know, all these people are like, oh, it's still going to be good for me. You know what? It could be good for you if you have a plan, but hope is not and has never been a strategy. Write that down. It is not a strategy. You need to actually have a strategy to get through. Today's meeting is an attempt to both share with you what I have learned and developed through ChatGPT. And again, developed. It's stuff that I actually tinkered with and came up with something that will help you crank out information to people that matter so much to you, and that is the people who are going to sell. Do I want you to not work with buyers? No, of course not. I want you to get a shitload of buyers. I want you to work. I want you to get all of it. But I will also say that in the uncertainty of real estate right now, the safest place for you to be is with sellers. Isn't that the truth? Nod wildly if you say, you know, we got a little smirk out of Dina. You know, Dina and I, she's become a dear friend and she's a wonderful teammate. And if anybody wants to do a good deal in Florida, I think she's a great lady to talk to. But we had lunch with a client of ours who both sold and bought a home with us just yesterday. And we had a great 2-hour, wonderful, right, Dina? Yeah, just a lovely, lovely woman. And I think that that's really the type of thing to build these relationships is really, really huge. So I want to just get a show of hands from you as we get started. Who's using ChatGPT in the creation of CMAs? Anybody yet? Okay, Greg, can I pick on you for just a second before? No? Maybe?
If I can figure out how to unmute, yeah, sure.
Okay, so why don't you tell me, and if everyone else who's not chatting doesn't mind muting themselves, I'd appreciate it. That includes Marlene. I'll mute you for you. Yeah, so Greg, you there?
I'm here.
Okay, great. So what exactly are you using ChatGPT? How are you using it? Before I get into the way I'm using it, I want to hear what you're doing.
So I've taught it how I create a CMA, and it's still learning, and I'm still not trusting it completely. But I upload not only the comps that I've identified, but all the recent transactions, actually active, under contract, pending, closed, for the neighborhood or the mile from my subject property. I download that from my MLS and I upload it to ChatGPT. And I take my subject property, if I can find the previous MLS listing.
Okay.
I create a PDF of that and upload it to ChatGPT. I also upload our tax record, and then I tell it go. But before I can tell it go, I've taught it that, you know, these are the adjustments that I make to my comparables to make them equal to my subject property. Make these adjustments, pick out a report that shows me each comparable property that you chose, what adjustments you made, and I review that. And so far, with a few minor exceptions, it has nailed it for me. So one day I hope to be able to just trust it and do my CMA that way.
You know, Greg, I'm so glad that you said trust, because I will say this to everyone. This is not an excuse for not following up and not really checking the numbers and making sure that it works. This is something, though, that I will show you momentarily here, how I've actually created it. And here's the good news.
This meeting is being recorded.
There's a constant change in business. Let me just open this up here. I saved this on a Google Sheet. And for those of you that would like that, you can send an email to Daniel@Bogen Homes. He'll keep putting that up there. He's my, again, Wonder Man that runs the show here. And we will get a copy of the prompts out to you right after the meeting. So let's just take a look at this and get right into it. First of all, with ChatGPT, what we really want to do is there's a several step process. The first is to get the context of who you are into ChatGPT. Now, for the purpose of this meeting, I cut and paste everything in advance just to make it a little bit quicker. But you're going to be able to see that if, one of the things that I love doing, and I'm actually going to look at everybody here, one of the things that I love doing, anybody here using a note taker or autopilot? Show of hands, anyone recording the meeting? Maybe a couple of you, some of you are. Okay, I record every one of my Zoom meetings, and I highly suggest you guys consider it. It's not very expensive. Why? Because I could go to autopilot and I could ask it to describe me based on the interactions that I've had with the last 60 or 70 meetings. Greg, I bet you didn't even think about that. You could actually ask it to give a great description of you, which you could then run into another AI to make it, or ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you're using, to make it that much more detailed and cogent. And what I found was it really created a phenomenal description. And I'm going to share some of that with you now. So all of this was literally written with AI. So here's the first prompt. And again, it's going to come at you. You're welcome to screenshot this or write it down. Step 1, I'm going to enter information in several steps. I should have actually made that plural. Sorry, guys. To get you to write a CMA for a potential client who may want to list their home with me. The first prompt is context. After you read this, simply answer, I understand, make your next input. So we're going to do that like right now. I'm going to take this. I'm going to copy it. And it would help to open up ChatGPT because that's what most of you are using. There's other ones as well. And here, I just entered that prompt in. And now it's going to say what I said in the beginning. I understand, make your next input. Congrats, we're now 25% of the way there. Okay, so let's go to the next prompt here. Then I'm going to actually enter the subject property. The subject property in this case is a listing that we have, 17065 Northway Circle. If all of you think all of this has been typed out, you're wrong. I basically took it right from the MLS. I put it into ChatGPT and I said, please transcribe. So I'm going to show you how to do that at the end, but I know all of you want to get to the fun stuff here. So here, I'm going to take our first, our subject property, and I'm going to enter it as well. And one of the things that I put at the end of this was important to note, I'm putting in comps that are not as renovated as this home. Please add $500,000 to $1 million value to this home to account for renovations. Again, this is something that you may or may not, this is something, just the intuition that a listing agent has in their area. And this is my intuition that it's going to probably be that much of a difference. But I'm putting it in, again, once again, guys, if you don't mind muting yourselves while we're going on here. Let me just see. Okay, sorry about that. God, 63 of you. Hey, Tom, that's a lot of people we got here. Okay, so we took the subject property and we're going to copy it. And I'm going to put that into ChatGPT as well. I understand. Please add the comps. Now that's what it asked it to do. Great. Now I've put 3 comps, which I had cut and paste. Now, how did I get the comps? I think it's important just to go at it. Let's take a look at this Castle Bay Court, for example. What I did with the comps is I went from the showing instructions up. I didn't want to put the listing agent's info in there. And I took that. Here, I'm going to put it into Claude right now. Just another LLM. And I'm going to just say, please transcribe. So now what Claude is going to do is it actually transcribes this into a decent format, and you could cut and paste whatever info you have. So what's the point of showing you that? I'm showing you that because I didn't have to type out all that stuff. I just took what was already on the MLS. Are we clear so far? Okay, very good. So now let's go back to the fun part here. Okay, so we got the subject property in. Now I promised that we were going to get the comps in. Comp number 1. And again, I pre-chose these things, but I got these comps and the information about the comps in the same manner that I just cut and paste the information off of our MLS. This is comp 1. After you learn this content, please ask me to input comp 2. Okay. Putting that in. And now it's understand, please add comp 2. Great. We're going right along here. We're going to get to comp 2. And it even says here, this is comp 2. After you learn this content, please ask me to input comp 3. Great. So I got that. I understand. Please add comp 3. This is the final thing that we're going to be inputting, guys. And here's comp 3. Okay, this is comp 3. After you learn this content, I want you to write a concise letter that will serve as a CMA. Use simple terms in a style of Home and Gardens magazine. Please make sure to run your calculations on property value. Again, I believe this property should be worth $500,000 to $1 million more than these comps because it is renovated. You can make the judgment based on the average price per square foot, number of baths, etc. So let's take a look here. And now let's see what it does. And by the way, we still may need to make some changes, but let's take a look. So dear homeowner, we're pleased to present you with a comparative market analysis for your beautiful home. Okay. At 17065 Northway Circle, located in the prestigious St. Andrews Country Club, especially so blah, 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 blah. So it gives you the actual property, the comparative properties. Here's your market analysis. It actually goes through the adjusted valuation, which you may or may not want to put in there. Again, I don't know. And it says, therefore, the evaluation is between 3 million and 3.6. Well, we're probably going to need to make some adjustments on that, but we could adjust accordingly. We could be able to do certain things in this that will be able to make the adjustment based on those comps. You know, I could say something like, please narrow the CMA down to a range of 1 to 200. I'll put, actually, don't be lazy here. 100,000. Be more descriptive. Okay. So now we actually make the changes here. Once the data is in, I just want you to really take away from this that you could do almost anything. You could actually reshape it, rechange it, do whatever you want. We're going to talk in a minute about what the hell we're going to do with all this information now. But what I want you to do, you know, if you want to get a listing in the next 90 days, what I want you to do is actually go into creating a CMA a day. I want you to go in, create a CMA a day, and we're going to talk about the distribution. Okay, so now the lower range, 3,250,000, upper range, 3,450,000. This is a stylistic choice, guys. I'm a realtor who believes that real estate is sold on a spectrum. Most of your clients believe that real estate is sold the way you buy IBM stock, that it's selling at $90 a share. You should pay within 5 cents of that price. It's unfortunate. It's not. It's a spectrum. We have a choice to make. Dina and I have something under contract right now. There was somebody willing to pay with a mortgage 1.7, somebody else willing to pay 1.65 for cash. When time is of the essence, what is the difference in that $50,000 to the homeowner? We all come upon that as listing agents. Don't you agree? This comes up over and over and over again. So, you know, so it is sold on a spectrum. That $50,000, while it is an awful lot of money, and I don't want to poo-poo that amount of money, sometimes taking the lower price deal is the better offer, which is why I take a little bit of license when it comes to making these CMAs. Again, If you want the prompts, please send an email to Daniel at Bogen Homes. You could also ask for it in the chat here, and he'll be able to get it out to you. So I just want to, see with the show of hands, any thoughts on this? Who's, that's really, we're going to talk in a minute about what to do next and how to actually, you know what? I'm going to start that right now. One of the things that I'd like for you to do, anyone still advertising on Zillow? Nobody. Maybe nobody wants to admit it. People are too embarrassed. Something. Okay. No one's gonna tease you here, I swear. Okay. If you have any budget whatsoever, think about doing a CMA a day, and think about doing it in this way. One, CMA a day, when I mean that, that's going to be roughly 20 CMAs. We're going to give you the weekends off. What are you going to do with that CMA? You're going to create it in the fashion that I just showed it to you. You're going to have your other supporting marketing materials, things like comps, and photographs, propaganda of what you do, your bio, whatever type of material you want. And again, for those who are my coaching clients, and that means you, Andy, we're going to go one-on-one about really make the best possible presentation. But going beyond that, you're going to get all that. Then you're going to run over to FedEx, okay? I'm going to spend your money very carefully here. You're going to go over to FedEx and you're going to do the 2-day delivery, the late 2-day delivery. It's $15, okay? It's $15 times $20, 20 times a month. That's $600 a month. Let's add a couple of other things for printing and preparation, whatever else you're doing. You're spending $700 to $800 a month, okay? Do this for 90 days, for 3 months. You're going to spend less than $2,500. Tell me it didn't work. It will work. We're going to have to go on with follow-up and with all that. But if you need a strategy. Again, hope is not a strategy. Strategy and structure is going to work. Now we could go into where we get these people, how you're farming and all of that. But that is the actual, it's not that tough. It really isn't that tough. But it is an intellectual discipline that we have to go over. Okay, so who's doing CMA a day? Is anyone in here doing that as a methodology? Nobody. Anyone? Avez-vous compris? All of you are so loaded with business, you're lighting cigars with $100 bills, right? That's the thing.
You said a CMA a day?
CMA a day.
Can't say that. 2 a week.
Okay. And how's it working for you? Have you been tracking your numbers?
Well, no, not really, but I've always done what I call a market review or a real estate review,
Good.
equity review, kind of depends on the flavor of the day, 2 a week. So I can't really say that this is that much different. And I haven't used this methodology. I've stuck with my old methodology.
Okay. Look, and you know what? Everything that I do, and Greg, you've only been here a few times, but I think what works. There's no special Bogen method here. This is just stuff that we've done trial by fire. And I'm just telling you that getting those messages out. Another thing that I do that's separate and apart from that, I send, you can't really see it very well because of the blurry, but I write 2 letters a day to my immediate farm area, and we're tracking that. And then over in the Philippines, Daniel, who's enjoying his coffee, is going to mark out on the page if these people are getting my weekly email, which is a report that he generates. So that's something else that goes out to these people. What do you get from all of this? You get from all this my walking into the country club and having every single person know who I am. I'm famous to those people, not out of ego, but because I can make a lot of money being so. That's exactly what I'm doing. So I go into these meetings with the absolute hope of getting people to really know and they understand and see the brand. Why the FedEx? I'm going to get you in 1 second, Terry. Why the FedEx? Because it's $15 and they're going to open it. Okay? They will open it. It's almost as sure as the sun will rise. So if you're thinking about spending money on something, spend it on yourself. Terry, go ahead.
Well, I really am enjoying this. Thank you, Edmund. Your
Thank you.
mind goes a million miles an hour, and it's great to be caught in your wake. So thank you for sharing this stuff. But just to play devil's advocate here, how is this CMA better than what we could get on our local MLSs?
It's probably not. It's just a lot faster. So it's basically taking that because you're doing a few things. First of all, if you remember the first prompt that I put in the context of who I was.
Mhm.
I developed that context from taking hours and hours and hours of these meetings through Autopilot. Here, you know what? I'll show you, and Eitan, I'll get you as well in a moment. But where the heck is Otter? Okay. So Otter is, I hope it works here. Maybe. Sometimes there's just too much going on in the screen. And let's just take a look. And as a result, it gets a little wonky. Sorry about this, guys.
Daniel, pour your coffee in the hard drive.
Don't do that. But okay, we're seeing why. Let's see if I open them. Up here we go. So here now, if for any of you who has Otter, it tape records. You see how that's me being old. It actually has an AI chat within here. And one of the things that I could do is type in, based on what you know about me, Edmund Bogen, can you write a blog post that I can use as a promotion? And now the Otter is actually going to, okay, I did this actually before. And it does certain things like unleash your real estate potential. That's screaming AI to me. That's something that I really would not want to use, but it's actually writing out based on a lot of stuff that was inputted into the computer, not by me, but by just these very conversations that are going on. So you're actually leveraging what you're doing. I'm going to get Stephanie in just a second, but Eitan had a question, and then I'm going to get Stephanie. Eitan, tell everyone who you are and where you are and what's your question.
So I'm in Lisbon, and I'm a realtor here with Remax, and I help Ed with Ray Nation. And I was wondering, I didn't get to see the final product. Could you actually show that to us?
Yes, I did. I will show it again in a couple of minutes, but we will give that as an email. That Daniel, make sure that we give that as an email to everyone. The final product is a long email. Once again, you might not like what is written at. I chose the tone of Home and Gardens magazine. You might choose the tone of Vince Vaughn in the movie Wedding Crashers. I mean, I've used that before for some stuff. You might choose a completely different thing, but I will get to that. Stephanie, want to tell everyone who you are and where you are? You need to unmute yourself. Stephanie Bennett.
Hi,
Hey.
I am Stephanie. I'm in Somerville, South Carolina with Carolina One.
Cool.
Thank you for having me. This is obviously my first one. Super informative.
Thank you.
The question I have for you is about your FedEx response.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your like rate of return on that. You know, if you're sending out for 90 days, you commit to this, because my question is about mail-in versus in person.
Sorry, you got cut
Does
out.
that make sense?
Mailing between. Sorry, you're
mailing them to the people through FedEx.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to type it in the chat?
No. 3 times a charm. Go for it, Stephanie. Let's see it. Try one more time.
It's drilled in my head to do real estate reviews or these CMAs in person.
Yes.
Versus in mail. So I was curious about your success with the mail.
I think the success with my mail has just brought about a greater understanding with many of the people that I already know. I'm already in a farm area, as I said, so this stuff will go out to them for that. By the way, I don't want this to be in place of getting face-to-face with someone. This is you going to, like, my farm area, for example, 728 beautiful homes, and being able to go en masse to those people. When you meet someone who says, hey, Stephanie, I've been thinking about selling my home, this is unexcusable. You can't just send a FedEx and say, call me if you want. So I'm glad you asked the question, that this really is something that you need to strike the balance on and be able to to be able to identify. Right now, one is a mass market. The second one is a very personalized approach. And by the way, people in our sphere upgrade and downgrade all the time. Isn't that true? If you really think about it, the small world phenomenon, it was a study done by 2 sociologists. And what they discovered was that you have at any given time 450 people that you know on a first name basis. That is the police officer on the street, that is the baker at your favorite bakery, that's your husband, that's your friends, that's whoever it might be. You also have 150 people that you know really, really well. That would be Eitan, that would be Dina, that would be Daniel, that would be Terry. To me, these are my people who you could pick up the phone no matter what and call them and they will answer the phone. Now, why is this really important? It's important because if you take a look at that from a second degree standpoint, and we're going to be getting into the second degree next week, you're going to be able to see if you multiply, Eitan, break out your calendar. What's 150 times 150? Where are my mathematicians? You know, Mark, you're a title guy. Come on, figure that out. I know what it is, but Stephanie, go ahead. Stephanie's good at math. I can tell she's good at math. No, maybe? No.
22,005.
How much?
22,005.
22,500 people. That is the number of people in your second degree, statistically. So in other words, Dina's best friends that I've never met, who's still somewhere up north freezing in the wintertime, sorry guys, I had to throw that in, is in my second degree. Next week's meeting, we're going to try and focus on what are you going to do to extract that opportunity. You see, I truly believe that you already have the leads. We bust our ass with these Zillows and all this stuff. And not to throw a total cow at Zillow, although I'm not afraid to do that either. You really have opportunity that you're overlooking, and it's going to really suck in the next 3 weeks, guys. We have to become listing agents. We love going out to lunch with our buyers. We love being able to show them stuff. We love getting that. I'm not saying give up on that. What I'm saying is if I'm going to keep you as members of Rain Nation, and I really hope I do, you really must make a living. And that's really the objective of this whole meeting. Okay, who is next? We had, okay, Kenny, you want to just say?
Yeah, real quick, I just wanted to ask
where you are?
I'm in Los Angeles area.
Good.
My quick question is, what's your follow-up after your FedEx? What's your structure?
Fantastic. I'm glad you asked. That comes down to the volume of time that you actually have. One of the things that I try and do with the follow-up is see how many ways you could actually get connected with those people. For my coaching clients, I think, Andy, we skip traced a lot of your information so that we could get the telephone numbers and email addresses. Now the follow-up is, can they be added to a weekly email newsletter, which Daniel's working very hard on for me, which we are working very hard on for our coaching clients. Are you comfortable with a cold call? I'm the only coach out there who says, if you don't want a cold call, don't do it. Remember the diet, Slim Fast, a shake for breakfast, a shake for lunch, and then a sensible meal? You've had 2 shakes all day. What's a sensible meal? The side of a cow? I mean, just let's stop and think about it for a second. It's not going to work. You're destined to fail. Let's not fail. Let's realize that there are so many people in this business, and I could introduce you to 5 different people who make $1 million a year in 5 very, very different ways. Some of you network. Some of you really go deep into, is Harris here today? Let me just see. Harris Benson, are you here? I thought I saw him in here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Sorry, a little under the weather.
Okay, and you don't need to show yourself. Harris, he's a great guy, excellent agent. Get to know him, and I really mean this. I wish you guys would call each other. The information is out there. You're seeing each other here. You're all here for the same thing. If Frank was here, she'd tell you about 35 to 40% of her business is coming from agents from out of state. Don't overlook your agents from both the buying and listing side.
Ellos lo máximo, o sea, no quieren moverse de donde
Luciana's open.
porque les consideran
Yeah,
que
I know. Anyone speak Spanish? Okay.
yeah.
There we go. Okay. So what we want to do is capture whoever we can in this methodology, being able to do. Eitan, did you just have a hand up? Are you frozen? Maybe, kind of, sort of. Okay, sort of. Let's see some of the commentary here. What other questions do we have? Sorry about that. Eitan, you're frozen now. If you could hear me, you need to unfreeze or maybe log out and log in if you could even hear me. What other questions do we have here now? We've got, like I was saying before, I could introduce you to 5 different people who make $1 million a year or more in 5 very, very different ways in real estate. You don't need to cold call. Okay, there, I said it. You don't need to. Does it help? It certainly does. You know, being shy gets you nowhere. I taught my daughters that when they were little. They thanked me today. Chloe, who's now in Los Angeles herself, says to me over and over again that was one of the best life lessons that she learned, that being shy gets you nowhere. Try so hard to put yourself out there. It is so, so important. So Eitan, are you back now?
Yes.
Okay, what was your question?
Yes.
Did you have a question?
I wanted to see the final product and the.
Okay, Eitan, we'll get to it. I'm getting it out to everybody. Fine. Here, let me pull this up. Where is this thing? Okay, so here we go. Dear homeowner, we're pleased to present you with a comparative market analysis for your stunning home at 17065 Northway Circle. By the way, you don't like I want to emphasize, if you think it's too flowery, knock yourself out. You know, make some changes. That's the beauty of ChatGPT. We wanted to first and foremost get the data in. And it gave all of this information, which frankly, I don't think we actually need. So we could actually cut this down quite a bit. The comparative properties, we can make this a little bit simpler because it's going on with all the data. Market analysis, the average price per square foot of the comparable properties is approximately $672.08. Given your home's extensive renovations, superior finishes, and prime location within the gated community, we recommend adding a premium of $500 to $1 million over the comparables. Once again, we could change the language a little bit as you see fit. And it goes through the math. Maybe you want to show the math, maybe not. But again, people will, you know, this is a stylistic choice. Incidentally, it came up with the price $3.25 and $3.45 million. This is a real listing of ours. And by the way, having done this in another way, we now have this listed for right within this range. So I think it's pretty good. Now, the conclusion, your beautiful renovated home, and again, this is Home and Gardens, at 17065 Northway Circle is positioned competitively in the luxury market. We estimate the value to be this. This valuation reflects superior condition, desirable location, and exquisite upgrades on your property. Please feel free to reach out for anything else. If you want to be able to now add to this what raves were, if you have some type of compliments from clients, if you have some type of other market insights, the point of this meeting is not to show you exactly what the CMA should say. It's to show you the methodology for using the ChatGPT or another LLM to be able to get that information out there. Most of you are going to ChatGPT and using it the way you've been trained. All of you have been trained to use it the way you use Google. That's what you've been done. You know, you go to you ask a certain question of that. You know, what's the diameter of the Earth, or you know, who invented liquid soap and why? I don't know. You know, you guys come up with various questions that you could throw out to this thing. What I'm saying to do is to actually use it for a deeper and more robust conversation. That's something that will be huge. By the way, Eitan or Daniel, please remind me at the end of this meeting to show you a new feature on ChatGPT. For those who are ChatGPT Prime, you're going to start to get a much more robust dialogue. It actually sounds like you're speaking to your best friend. It actually sounds, and they gave it to me yesterday. Finally, they opened it up. Like I said, I always like to, they're rolling it out now worldwide. So for those of you who are ChatGPT Prime users, Plus users, you're going to start to get this amazing technology. And we're really staying right on the cutting edge of all of this to try and guide you and help you incorporate it into your business. Terry Robeson, please.
Can you add pictures to this ChatGPT CMA?
It's a good question. As of now, my understanding is you can't. You can add it in your own work. I mean, if you want to just take that, cut and paste it and put it into another, you could ask Daniel. I am no graphic designer and I am no structural thing. I wouldn't know. I know a website that I like. I would never know how to actually describe it. That's just my thing. Good news. There's a lot of people in this world that do. There's a lot of people who can do that for you. And I want everyone to know that you're just not alone when it comes to creating this stuff. This is just one brick in the wall. One brick in the wall, one way to do it. What other messages do we have here? Terry, was there any other question on that?
No, I love when you admit that you don't know something, because I think that you know everything. So thank you.
I don't know shit, man. Look, this is what it is. I know just a few things. I do it pretty well. And I hope to be able to guide a lot of you. Incidentally, before I get to Eitan, I want to remind you, if you'd like to sign up for Rain Nation today only, we're going to give it to you free of charge for 30 days to give it a shot. We want you to be able to do it. If you have been now as a guest for a few times, we're going to ask that you subscribe, but we are giving that now to all of you. If you'd like to learn more about one-on-one coaching and our marketing services, we will do all this for you, okay? So it's much different than all these other coaches that are out there, and there's no long-term commitment, so that's great. Greg, go ahead.
I just want to say, when I was describing my creation of a CMA, it was for an actual listing appointment, not for what you're describing, which I think is really, really cool. But two things that I told my GPT to do was to find the 3 most comparable listings that were in sold status within the last 3 months. And then sometimes it comes back and says, I can't find that. Would you like me to expand it to 6 months? And having all that data in there, so I'll load all the data for a couple of years for a neighborhood. Then I have the ability to say, hey, of the listings that closed in the last 6 months, what was the average days on market? And it will spit it out. I'll graph it for me, and then I'll cut the graph and put it into a document. So it gives me a lot more opportunities to ask questions for deeper data if I've got all that in there. But I like your approach for the purpose of just getting it out there and touching 5 people a week.
Yeah, well, that's like something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. And good news, if you think it's a complete waste after a month of spending $600 on FedExes, or don't do the FedEx, send it an email, whatever it is. I'm just telling you what's going to get the notice. And I just think, depending upon, the value in your area. Here's the other thing. I'm getting sick and tired of hearing realtors say to me, well, I'm going to start out with rentals, and then when they're ready to buy, I'm going to work with them. Here's the thing. A young couple, 27, 28 years old, renting their first home, it's going to be a very, very long time before they're going to buy something that is of real value. Again, bless them, let them live a wonderful life. I'm not making a judgment. My job is to help you make money. You need to take the Concorde to success. Now, they're not flying the Concorde anymore, but for those of you who remember, a Concorde was a very fast airplane. Okay, you need to be able to focus on this and to be able to secure and close more and more deals. If you just have to ask yourself, is this the type of thing that will work? You could also borrow from this idea if you want to be able to do other things with it. For example, I oftentimes write reviews of restaurants. Now, some of you have been in these meetings with me before, where I just go to the restaurant's homepage, take the About section, put it into ChatGPT, tell ChatGPT I'm going to put in some reviews. I go to the Yelp reviews, I copy that, I throw that in there as well. And I put in a couple prompts and say, can you write a blog post about Cut 432, the steakhouse in Delray Beach? And it will come up with an almost perfect, very personalized sounding review and blog post of this restaurant. So you just have to ask yourself, what are you spending your time doing? What's going to be the most important thing? You really need to decide that. Okay, other questions before we get to wants, needs, and brags. I hope that this was helpful. Daniel, if you could post next week's topic as well on there, that would be great. And again, please, 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 if you want to take advantage of this, please sign up. Again, there's no real commitment. You're going to be able to find out for yourself if I'm for real or full of shit within 30 days, and you could always drop out. So if you want to be able to to do that. Okay, yep, we got to get your topics out there. For Daniel pointed out to me that and Eitan's probably furious with me, I need to get the topics out there. We are going to go deep this month on becoming a listing agent. We are going to go deep on all the issues that we are about to experience. There's plenty of people out there saying you need a strategy, you need this, it's not going to be a problem. It's a problem. It's a problem. You do need a strategy, but you need to take it seriously. The fire alarms are going off, and I have no idea why so many agents are in la-la land. Does it mean you're not going to work? No, it means you can work, but accept the fact that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to die. There's a lot of people that are not going to make it through. And when I mean die, it's more metaphorical, that they're not going to make it through this, this change. People can, but you must come up with a plan. And that's what we're really dedicating the meeting to. So wants, needs, and brags. This is the time for you to talk about what you want, what you need, and what you like to brag about. It could be about your kid getting into college, a charity you're involved in right now. Please, take a moment if you'd like to. You could just wants, needs, and brags. Everyone loves to brag. Here's your chance. I'm giving you the blessing. Nobody. You got an audience.
Edmund, it's Greg.
Greg, okay, quickly, Greg.
I definitely want to participate in your free month. It's just not a good month for me, so I'll circle back. So that's my want.
Okay.
I love this concept of using ChatGPT. I had posted a question about using it in a little bit different way that I think Greg also kind of touched on, and that's kind of determining what something is going to sell for and when it's going to sell. My question to Greg is, how did you feed those closed sales to the chat engine?
So I found it interesting. Ed's MLS must be the same as mine because the screen is exactly the same. But we have the ability to do a search and then export. And I exported it into a CSV file or an Excel file and then upload it, which you have to have the paid version of ChatGPT to do the uploads, I'm pretty sure. I upload it into ChatGPT. Give it a second, and sometimes it'll say, hey, what does this column mean? Or I'll say, find all the closed listings, and I'll say, well, I don't know how to determine what the closed listings are. I have to say status equals C is closed, and then it gives me what I need. So a little bit of working with it, but it learns. And as it learns, then you don't have to give it that anymore. You can tell it, remember this for future use.
I never considered asking it to, but of course it'll work. So that, again, these meetings, like I said, nobody knows everything. That's what we need, this community group think to try and get through. And that's great. Sorry, Kenny, go ahead.
I just want everybody that's not a member of Rain Nation to join, because the networking alone is worth it. And the tools that Edmund teaches and all the bits of information we get from everybody, it's definitely more than you're paying. So thanks.
Well, thank you, Kenny. That's very, and I never met this man before in my life. I'm kidding. Okay, wants, needs, and brags. Who else? Paula, maybe, or Marlene's here. Love Orlando. Stephanie, you're new here, but this is a great time to brag. Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Paula first, and then Marlene.
Okay, sorry. Yes, had a really difficult time with a house for 3 months, no offers, and long story short, got 2 offers this week. The rates dropped, and all of a sudden, everything was happening because, it's been tough, very challenging.
It's on the worst day of working really hard. You know what you do? You know what I do? You look in the mirror and you say, being desperate is harder. Not achieving your goals is harder. Yeah, this is such a mental business. You really need to overcome this in order to actually win. So, Paula, I'm so happy to hear you say that. We just have to push through right now. Again, and my team members who are on here right now, man, the summer sucks. That's all I could say. It's Florida. Who the hell wants to deal with this stuff right now? But here's the good news. Despite what I just said, the season changes and things go on, and there's opportunity if you actually go after it. You gotta seize it. So important.
There is a footnote to this story, if I could just add to it. I used to do this thing called an easy exit listing agreement.
Oh, tell us about it.
Well, it meant if you weren't happy with, everything that we were doing, which, was really impossible if we're doing professional photography. My son is my partner. He does the professional photography, drone, extensive marketing. I'm in the homes book every week, open houses. The only thing that could be wrong with it is your price. So, you know, I always say I'm in charge of the marketing, you're in charge of the price. And they were very difficult with the price. We came down on the price and they said, we want out. And I said, I'm never using this again. And I won't. I'm never using the easy exit listing agreement again. But I said, they wanted to do it like July 23rd, cancel it. And I said, look, if you just give me until the end of July to show it and another 3 weeks after that to get it into contract, then I'll let you go. And guess what? You know, I knew that it would happen, but they were not patient enough. And
So you're saying it's a bad thing?
Well, you know, the easy exit, I would never use it again because never, I would not. You know what? If you really had to, somebody in my office said, look, if we've done all these things and we checked all the boxes and actually give them like a checklist, say, if we've done everything here and we don't like each other anymore at the end, I will let you go. But you really have to make sure that you cover yourself because they were not even giving me a concrete reason because we had offers and you just didn't like them. Okay. So, you know, you got to balance that out. So it worked.
Dina's breakdancing here.
I have to say
that. I think Marlene was before you. Marlene, did you want to add something and then Dina?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Marlene from Orlando, Florida. I'm with Douglas Elliman, like Edmund. And Edmund, I just want to let you know that we had a call the other day and I moved to Orlando 2 years ago without knowing one person. Our brokerage doesn't even have an office here. And we spoke about the area, the development that I live in. And I started a private Facebook page for just the development for my neighbors. And out of 600 homes, and I started this in March, this past March. And so far I have 340 neighbors on the page. So I feed it every week. And I just got my first listing from just come and list me call. So thanks,
I don't know if I could go on with the meeting. I'm welling up with emotion. Maybe that's a little dramatic, but I'm so proud and so happy to hear that. I love it when people actually take the ideas and run with it. Some of you are part of my Facebook group, ChatGPT and Real Estate Mastermind. Show of hands, anyone on that? A couple people? Few of you, yeah. Okay, we're now up to almost 13,000 people in that group. I'm adding 500 or 600 people a month organically. And that's bad, by the way. I was adding 1,000 a month. So that's organically. Why? Because people love the content. So that's another thing that we're going to be talking about from a listing standpoint. Marlene, let's lean in on that. I want to meet with you. By the way, everyone, Eitan and Daniel have been posting. If you want to get together with me one-on-one, and I suggest you do, please take a time and schedule on the Calendly, which is up there. And I'm sure Daniel will post it again before the end of the meeting. What else? Oh, Dina, go ahead. Dina was the next one. Sorry about that, Dina.
No, not at all. I was actually just commenting on the that easy exit listing agreement. I would never, ever use something like that. And Edmund and I just had a whole issue with a home that we now have under contract for the third time. The owner went through a period where they definitely would have cut us loose if they had an easy exit type thing. We were able to turn the whole thing around. I think they really, really like us again. I think they're very happy with our progression through everything. But I think selling a house can be very emotional for people. And if you give them that easy exit, I think, if you're making the commitment to put in the time, the money, and the effort, they need to give you that same commitment back. And it's not fair if you put in, I must have done 100 showings at this house, professional photographer, the whole thing, spent the money, did the marketing. They've got several magazine ads on their house. We put in a lot of time and money. I would never allow an easy exit like that. It's undervaluing yourself and your own time.
Yeah. Okay. So listen, agreed. I think just the very nature of a contract, I'll give you my definition of it, which somebody else probably said it sometime, but fuck it, I'll take credit. It binds the buyer and seller together. It binds the broker and seller together. This is what's binding you. This is what's saying, I'm going to deliver this. This is what you're going to get from me. The problem and where we go wrong in this is that there's just so many bad agents out there. I am hoping to kind of thin the herd of the bad people. Unfortunately, a lot of them tend to linger. Everyone watches $1 Million Listing and thinks that we're going to be having blinis with J-Lo at Cipriani. And we're going to just suddenly say, oh yeah, sign here. You're going to make it. They don't see the crap that we actually go through and how people don't show up. Anyway, thank you for that, Dina. Always the voice of reason. I love working with her. If I ever say the wrong thing, Dina will be right behind me telling you what I meant to say. Next, anyone else wants, needs, and brags before we get out of here? Terry, brag. One.
I just want to give a shout out to Harris Benson. I got a letter from him yesterday that he sent me a cup of coffee.
Yes.
And I'm like, you know, it's Starbucks card, go buy a cup of coffee. And I'm like, dude, that was really cool. So, you know, thank you, Harris. And I just wanted to say that.
Harris has been terrific with keeping himself top of mind. It's a frustrating thing because you don't see the immediate reward, and everything we're doing here is ChatGPT. You get immediate dopamine. You get an immediate rush. You know, I'm trying to help you get the Concord success. I really hope that you take the journey with me. I really hope, Stephanie, as well, book time with me if you can. It's in there. Anyone who is curious about this, I really would love to meet with you one-on-one and tell you what I'm all about in my business, and maybe you could join, maybe we'll part as friends, whatever it is, we'd love to have it. Okay, anyone else? Guys, this was a great meeting today. The next meeting is going to be, we're going into August now, so we're going to do that next week. The topics are going to be released today. I'm sorry that we did not get that all out to you. We are going deep in on being the listing agent. You have to. You just have to do it. Even if you love working with buyers, I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying this month is really going to be dedicated to helping you get listings. I hope you take the journey with me. And Terry, my friend, are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. When Terry says, oh, yeah, it makes me want to say, it sure is good seeing all of you today. It really is fun running these groups, and I get such satisfaction, and I look forward to seeing all of you next Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, for another exciting episode of
Rain Nation.
Mazel Tov. I love when he does
Thank
that.
you.
That's just great stuff. Thank you all so much. Please book appointments with me. I'd love to see everybody, and I'd love to be able to meet with you one-on-one. Greg, please. Everyone else that's in here who I'm not seeing right now, that's great. Thank you all so much, and I hope to see you next week.
Everybody.
Take care.